what we realized was that this was not enough to understand the relationship between humans and sea level because of the sea bottom morphology, because the sea bottom morphology is very steep near the coast, the present day coast, and very flat a little bit far from the coastline. So it depends on when sea level was rising. The effect was not the same in terms of horizontal coastline change. So this is why we built this model that we used in this case, and that we proposed to use in more general context that I will show to you in a minute. And basically, what we found out was that in the abandonment phase of the cave, a number of environmental criticities occurred, such as the collapse of part of the cave roof, such as the infilling of part of the cave with colluviated volcanic dust. But mostly what happened, well, among those problems, one problem was that the average horizontal coastline change was at its maximum. The rate was the maximum ever experienced in the area. So it is possible to hypothesize at least that the humans couldn't adapt very well to this very fast changing of the coastline and of its ecology. And so they decided to move somewhere else, and they came back during the Mesolithic when the coastline had stabilized and the rate of change was very, very low again. So this is the tool, Sea Level Viz, and if you don't mind, I would like to show you very quickly how it works. You can, I would be very happy that all the persons interested in this type of visualization could help us basically to improve it, because the idea is what we want to propose, but the idea is simply the base of all this, and it needs to be improved by someone that applies the code to his study sites or her study sites. So basically, this is the situation at the current date. I hope that you can see my screen. And if I change, sorry. I'm sorry, this is something that is not, because I cannot see. Okay. Okay. I am now changing the date, as you can see, and while I change the date, the landscape changes. So this could appear something that is very similar to the bath hub model that I was blaming and that I was criticizing before, but this is something different. And the good point of this model is that it is very simple to be used. As you can see, the input files are of very simple type, but the other point is that you have to choose the digital elevation model that you have to use as an input file, and the sea level curve, the sea level data, sea level change data, based on something that you can decide what it is. It means that you can use a modeled curve, or you can use observational points, or you can combine the both. And as a file, you can use a bathymetric file that you can correct based, for example, on the thickness of the sediment that has been displaced on the continental shelf after sea level rise. So you are aware of what you are doing in this case, and not simply apply bathymetric change that you don't know exactly where it comes from. So I thank everyone who would like to try and use this type of tool, and let us have a feedback about it. Especially, this tool was designed for the archaeologists, to make them aware of what they are doing when they are using this tool to reconstruct the environment of their archaeological sites. And now I shall briefly speak about SPHeritage, which is this project that basically I decided to undertake because I became very, very fond of this topic of relationship between sea level change and human populations' behavior and distribution. And I decided to share the responsibility of this project with Andrea Zerboni, who actually is a very skilled geoarchaeologist, but has a great experience on the terrestrial rather than the marine environment, because for this project we need both both fields of experience. Basically, SPHeritage stands for Sea Level, Population and Heritage, and is a project aimed at reconstructing in a specific study area the entity and the chronology of relative sea level changes, hopefully during the last 4 interglacials, maybe 3, maybe I wonder how many. It depends on what will come out from dates. And we would like to cross-check this with the response of Paleolithic human communities, but also to the changes in biodiversity of marine ecosystems, because we think that the 3 components are tightly related to one another. So sorry, I would like to no. Okay. This is our study area, which is located between along the coast of the northwestern Mediterranean, partly in France and partly in Italy, but the most relevant site, the focus site, will be the Balzi Rossi site, which is just close to the Italian-French border, but it is in Italy. And this is a site of great archaeological and anthropological relevance, actually like the other sites that are surrounding it. But in Balzi Rossi, we have a particular concentration of things that are basically a number of caves that are open in this cliff, this very steep limestone cliff. And within the caves, we have caves and shelters in a number of about 8, 10, it depends on how do you count them. And within the caves, artifacts, human burials, and marine and continental faunal assemblages, together with evidence of raised shorelines, have been found. Actually, I am saying they have been found because in this area, archaeological excavations are ongoing since the mid of the 19th century. So actually, most of these sites are now empty boxes, I would say. And this is actually the weak point of this project, is the challenge of this project. But I assure you, and I am not an archaeologist, but I have been convinced by the archaeologists of this, that the middle upper Paleolithic artifacts and burials and everything was found in these caves is really, really outstanding from the archaeological point of view. Because here, for example, you have traces of humans, of this human species, which was earlier than Neanderthals, the Heidelbergensis, Homo heidelbergensis, and then you have artifacts from Neanderthals, and then also you have many witnesses of the presence and the activities of Homo sapiens. So the point is that here you have also very good evidence of shorelines, of sea level change. So this is our research team, which is made by researchers from universities of Pisa, Milan, of Genoa, and of the Anthropology Museum of Monaco. So the first thing that we had to do was virtually reconstructing the fill of the caves, which means looking at all the reports starting from the mid-19th century, all the publications, all the photographs, all the accounts. And so we were able to virtually reconstruct the content of these caves. And then we had to locate exactly the huge number of samples